Hello, my dear student. Welcome to another edition of your mathematics lesson. Today, in continuation with your main topic, that is arithmetic of finance. What we are going to discuss today is profit and loss. So let's begin. After completing the very lesson today, my dear student, will be able to explain the term of profit and loss. You also be able to calculate the profit, loss, the selling price, and the percentage profit or percentage loss after completing this very lesson. These are what I expected that you'll be able to do after completing the very lesson today. So as usual in your favorite segment of the lesson, Mercy is Fund, today I'll give you another special group of numbers, and this group of numbers are called the bank pair numbers. I will explain what are bank pair numbers after completing my lesson today, so don't go away. To begin the lesson, my dear student, first I will explain what is a profit and what is a loss later on. I will show you how to find the profit, how to find the loss, how to find the selling price, percentage profit, and percentage loss. So let's start with the explanation about this profit and the loss. It says the profit is the money gained after sales, while the loss is the money lose after sales. So traders used to find sometimes gain after selling some items, and sometimes they have to lose the money. So that money gain is what we call profit, and the money loss is what we call this loss. And this profit or loss is usually percentage of the cost of the item. That is how much did that trader purchase that very item. That amount is what we refer here as the cost of the item. And it's calculated using this simple formula. It says profit equals to the selling price. Sometimes it's called the market price. Then minus the cost of the item. When you subtract the cost of the item from the selling price of that very item, what you are getting is the profit. Similarly, if it were a loss, which means the cost price will now be higher than the selling price. So that the trader now sell the item at a price lower than the price that he uses to buy that very item. So the loss will now be given by the simple formula, cost price minus the selling price. So when you subtract the selling price because it's the one that is smaller, then the cost price in case of loss, what you have in the end is the amount of money that the trader will now lose. Similarly, if you wanted to find the percentage profit, so what you simply do, percentage profit, you now find the profit. That will now be your numerator divided by the cost price multiplied by 100%. This will now give you the percentage profit because we said profit is usually percentage of the cost of the item. So if you want to find the percentage profit, which means you must have the profit or you can determine it, divided by the cost price multiplied by 100%. So this fraction of the cost price multiplied by 100 is what gives you the percentage profit. Similarly, if it were lost, the percentage loss that you wanted to find, it will now be the amount of loss divided by the cost price multiplied by 100%. Profit and loss. Let's just move and take examples. Example number one, it says a school bag cost 2,000 naira and sold at 20% profit. The question asked here, find the selling price of the bag. Solution to this very problem. So selling price of the item, what we asked to find will now be given by this simple formula, cost price plus the profit. The cost price is 2,000, is the profit that we are going to find now. So let's just move. We now have cost price plus the 20% of the cost price because that trader wanted to make a 20% profit, and the percentage profit is percentage of the cost price. Look at it, 20% of the cost price. So substituting continue, we now have 2,000, that is the cost price plus the 20% of the cost price, which is 2,000. So simplifying this, we now have 2,000 plus 400. This 20% of 2,000 gives you 400. And when you add 400 to this 2,000, it gives you the final selling price of the school bag, which is 2,400 naira. So the trader will now sell this school bag at the rate of 2,400 naira. There is 400 will now be the profit, which is equivalent to exactly 20% of the cost price of 2,000. So let's just move example number 2. It says a purse originally bought at this 1,200 naira was sold for 800 naira. So the question asked here is find the percentage profit or loss. Solution to this very problem. So what we now do, we compare the two amounts to know whether it is a profit or loss. It is a loss because the amount we sold it, 800, is smaller than the amount that the trader purchased the item, 1,200. So let's get the loss, amount of loss, which will now be the cost price, the one high, minus the selling price, the one low, that is 800. So substituting there, you now have 1,200 minus the 800. Subtracting 800 from 1,200 gives you 400 naira. This is the amount of money this trader will now lose after selling this purse. There we now write the percentage lost to be equals to lost divided by the cost price multiplied by the 100%. So we have substituted lost by 400, cost price by 1,200, and multiply the fraction by 100. If that is done correctly, you now have the percentage loss as 33.33%. This is the percentage lost. So let's just move and take another example. Example number 3 says Mama Blessed imported a shoe costing her 4,000 naira. The goods, that is this very shoe, attract an import duty of this 7.5% of it is the cost. And she also paid another tax, that is the sales tax of 2% of the total cost of the goods, including the import duty. So the question asked here, if she sold the shoe at this rate of 6,000, we are to find her percentage profit. So solution to that very problem. If I go back to the question just quickly, he has the opportunity of going abroad and find this shoe with the Nigerian currency there, the equivalent 4,000 naira. And while coming into the country, she now paid an import duty. This is usual of 7.5% of the cost, that is of this 4,000. And after she sold the item, she included this 2% sales tax in the cost. And in the end, finally, she was able to sell this good at this 6,000 naira. So the question asked here, calculate our percentage profit. So what we now do first is to get the total cost of the shoe, that is this 4,000, the real cost, plus the duty that she paid while entering the country. So let's just get that very cost. That is the cost of the goods plus the duty. The cost of the goods is 4,000. So let me just substitute it. Plus the import duty, 7.5% of the 4,000. So simplifying this 7.5% of 4,000 gives you 300 naira. So 300 naira added to this 4,000 gives 4,300 naira. So this is the total cost of the good. That is the real cost plus the duty. It is from this amount that she paid now 2%, because she paid the sales tax of 2% of the total cost. What total cost is the cost of the goods, including the import duty. So let's just find the total cost. Total cost, duty, and the tax will now be equals to 4,300. That is the cost of the goods and the duty plus plus the 2% of the sales tax. And this 2% is 2% of 4,300. That is the cost of the goods and the import duty. So there, simplifying this correctly gives 86 naira. That is 2% of 4,300 is 86 naira. When you add 86 naira to this, gives you 4,386. So this is now the total cost. So we continue. So we'll now go and find the profit. The profit will now be given by the formula sales price, that is the selling price minus the total cost. So I'm going to have 6,000, the selling price minus the total cost. This will now be our total cost, that is 4,386. So subtracting this correctly gives answer 1,614. So this is our real profit. So we can now compute the percentage profit. The percentage profit says profit over cost multiplied by 100%. So I'm going to have the profit 1,614 divided by the total cost, which is this 4,386 naira, multiplied by 100%. And this multiplication, if done correctly, gives you 36.80%. This will now be a real percentage profit. Example number 4, it says a wristwatch sells this 2,890 naira at a profit of 25%. The question asked here is to calculate the cost price of that very wristwatch. So solution to this very problem, what we now do, what is given here is the selling price, and this is the percentage profit. So let's just move. So selling price, we all know, is nothing but the cost price plus the profit. But there I don't have the cost price. So I continue substituting 1,890, the selling price, equals to the cost price plus the 25% of the cost price, because this profit is percentage of the cost price, and the cost price is not given in the question. So here I have cost price missing, here I have also cost price missing, which means I have to find a means of getting this cost price. So what I'm going to do, I will now let y to be the cost price because I have unknown here. So substituting y instead of this cost price, I'm now going to have my 2,890 equals to y, the cost price here, plus 25% of the cost price, which means 25 over 100 times y. So I'll now solve this equation for y. That will now give me the cost price of the item. So let us move. Simplifying the right hand side, 25 over 100 gives you 0.25 times y. So you have 0.25y. So collected like a times y plus 0.25y gives you 1.25y. And you now divide both sides by 1.25. That will give you y. So y would now be equals to 2,890 divided by 1.25. And this division, if done correctly, will give you y as 2,312 naira. So this is the real cost price of this wristwatch to the trader. With this, I have come to the end of this very lesson, my dear student. I hope you find it resourceful. Let me just move quickly to the last segment and explain what are pair numbers. So pair numbers are numbers that can be expressed as a product of two numbers, and those two numbers are exactly formed from all the digits in that very number. Let's just take an example. The example of a pair numbers is 1,260. So I can have 1,260 by multiplying two numbers, and those two numbers are now constructed or formed using this four digits in this very number, that is 1, 2, 6, and 0. So I can have 1,260 by multiplying two numbers. Let's just see the two numbers. 1,260 will now be equals to 21 multiplied by 60. If you look at these two numbers, this contains digits 2 and 1. I have 2 and 1. Look at them, 2 and 1. And the next number, 60, that is 60. I have 60. Multiplication of 21 and 60 will give you 1,260, which means this number will not be a pair number. Other examples of pair numbers is 1,395, 1,435 is a pair number, 1,530 is another pair number, 1,827. All these are pair number. Thank you for your attention. We see more of these things in mathematics in our subsequent lessons.